Are you essentially accusing the industry that you've done very well in of being racist?
No, I'm saying the act of not choosing models of color is racist. So I'm not saying, we're not calling them racist. We're saying the act is racist. And I'm also saying that they may not intentionally know, but they do choose, they hire casting directors, they hire stylists, and they are now the ones that choose the models, not so much the designer anymore. So it's not directly the designer, but it does affect their house and their brand.
So what you're saying is that over 82% of last year's walks on fashion runways in New York, in New York Fashion Week, were white models and just 6% black.
6% black and 9% Asian.
And is this worse than it was when you went into the business, what, 27 years ago?
Yes. Yes, it was. It is, sorry, because when I started modelling, I did Yves Saint Laurent, I did Gianni Versace. There was a great balance of models and colour.
But you're a world-famous supermodel. Why can't you go up to Victoria Beckham?
Who says I haven't?
And what does Victoria Beckham say?
I haven't gone up to Victoria Beckham, but who says I haven't gone up to designers that I am friendly with and said, hey, why are you not using more models of colour? I have.
And what do they say? What do your friends say?
We want to, you're right, but it doesn't happen.
You're the face that launched 1,000 magazine covers. Doesn't your success prove that black models can be extremely successful?
We don't want them to hide behind the aesthetic of when they say, well, the show is going to be this aesthetic this season. We want them just to allow balanced diversity. And yes, I have worked for 27 years, almost 28, and it's very upsetting to me. It's heartbreaking to be sitting here in 2013 even having this interview.
And you've chosen, well, you've named really big brands, Calvin Klein, Armani, Prada. Has it got to the point where you will not work for companies that you think are involved in racist acts?
Well, I'm lucky enough that I work on television now, and I still do modelling as well, obviously. And I'm not trying to accuse and point fingers and embarrass anyone. We're just basically trying to say, be aware.
And does the British end of things particularly disappoint you, given that you're Streatham born and bred? That you're naming Alexander McQueen,
I'm not pointing at one
Mulberry,
country, we're pointing to the fashion industry as a whole.
But you're naming Alexander McQueen, you're naming Mulberry, you've named Victoria Beckham.
Yeah, because they haven't used any models of colour.
And how will you measure success from your campaign? The fact that you've written to all these fashion councils.
New York shows have just finished. Huge difference. Big difference. So many more models of colour. 6 black models in Calvin Klein. There were none last year. So things are changing.
You're quite famous for having Nelson Mandela as a role model, and I'm wondering whether you feel this is your campaign now, that this is what you want to do.
I feel this is our campaign. And as I said, Beth Ann Hardison is a woman that I've looked up to and known since I'm 15 years old.
This is your fellow black model.
Yeah. And Iman, also the same, with huge respect to both. And I feel if I'm able to open my mouth, which is something Miss Mandela did tell me I could do when I was younger, if you can use your mouth to help others, do so. If you can speak to help others.
Because, I mean, people, most recently you've been in the headlines for the whole Charles Taylor
I don't want to talk about that.
Business. No, the only reason I ask.
I don't care about that. This is fashion. This is what I'm known to do. This is my job. When it comes to my job, I don't think anyone can fault me.
I just wondered whether you were worried that
it made it harder for you to
speak out.
I don't care what people think about me as their opinion. They're allowed to have their opinion. But what they cannot fault me on is my job. And this is my business, fashion. This is what I'm in. And this is what I see.
You have a reputation, rightly or wrongly, for being quite an angry person.
I'm not here to talk about me. I'm here to talk about balanced diversity.
No,
so I think I will finish here as I need to get back to my set and finish my TV show.
Let me finish my question. I just wondered whether there's a good anger and a bad anger, and this is actually a good anger to have.
It's not about, I'm not angry. And I don't like the thing of the angry black woman either. This is not what this is about. We are just, you asked to interview me because we've done very nice interviews in America. And you want to know what it's all about. So we're telling you what it's all about. We feel passionate. Feeling passionate about something doesn't mean you have to be angry.
What is your message, to finish, to the London fashion industry on the most important week of the year?
I have faith in London because the British Fashion Council were the first fashion council to respond. And so I feel...
What did they say to you?
It wasn't to me, it was a letter sent to Beth Ann. And it was a positive response. So I feel really optimistic about London. I think London's going to do the right thing, and we're going to see a lot more models of colour on the runway. That's how I feel about London.